The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council had witnessed 347 years of the same debate. Ambassador Zethkari of the crystalline hegemony shifted his translucent form, the light patterns across his body flickering with barely contained frustration. Across the vast circular hall, representatives from 12 major civilizations maintained their positions that hadn't changed since the day this accursed discussion began. The Voidwalkers maintain their stance, declared High Executor Vexilon, her ethereal voice echoing through quantum translators. Resource allocation must prioritize expansion capabilities. The Outer Rim territories require defensive installations first, interrupted Warlord Krexthor, his forearms gesticulating emphatically. The Taurian military collective has made this clear for over 2 centuries. Without proper fortifications, Ambassador Leeson of the aquatic depths raised a webbed appendage, water cascading from her specialized atmospheric suit. The oceanic worlds remain unrepresented in this allocation. The Coral Confederation demands. Zethkari's crystalline features pulsed with irritation. The same arguments, the same circular logic, the same stubborn adherence to species-specific interests. The great resource allocation debate had become the Council's greatest shame, a problem that had defied resolution despite the combined wisdom of the galaxy's most advanced civilizations. The resource in question was quintessium, the rarest element in known space. Only 7 deposits had ever been discovered, and the recent acquisition of an 8th had reignited the ancient quarrel. Each civilization needed it desperately. The crystalline hegemony for their city ships, the Voidwalkers for their reality-bending drives, the Taurians for their weapons, the Aquatics for their terraforming projects. Perhaps, suggested the mechanical voice of Unit Prime from the Synthetic Collective, we should implement the probability matrix proposed in Cycle 2008-47. We've run every simulation, Zethkari interjected, his patience finally cracking. Mathematical models, game theory, even the Genth's prophetic algorithms. Nothing works. Every solution favors someone while disadvantaging others. The debate would have continued for another hour, as it did every day, when the chamber's great doors dilated with a soft hiss. The arguing stopped abruptly as 12 pairs of alien eyes turned toward the entrance. A human walked in. Ambassador Sarah Chen moved with the peculiar confidence that had made humans simultaneously fascinating and terrifying to the galactic community. She was young by human standards, barely 40 rotations, with dark hair pulled back and wearing the simple blue uniform of the Terran Federation. What struck the assembled beings wasn't her appearance, but her expression. She looked genuinely puzzled. "I'm sorry," she said, consulting a datapad. "But did you say this debate has been going on for 3.5 centuries? Zethkari's form brightened with embarrassment. "Ambassador Chen, we did not expect—" "The humans weren't invited to this session," Krexthor growled. "This is a matter for established civilizations." Sarah raised an eyebrow, a gesture that had become surprisingly intimidating to species who'd learned to read human expressions. "Right. And you've been arguing about how to split 8 deposits of quintessium among 12 civilizations for 300 years? The complexities are beyond," began Vexilon. "No, they're really not." Sarah walked to the center of the chamber, her footsteps echoing in the sudden silence. "You each need different amounts for different purposes, right? And you can't agree because any fair split leaves someone short?" The assembled representatives exchanged glances. It was true, but the implications of human involvement made them nervous. Humans had a reputation for solving impossible problems through methods that other species found either brilliant or terrifying. "The solution is obvious," Sarah continued, pulling up a holographic display from her datapad. "You're thinking about this wrong. You don't need to split the quintessium, you need to share it." "Impossible," declared Unit Prime. "Our analysis indicates—" "Your analysis assumes ownership," Sarah interrupted. "What if nobody owns it?" She manipulated the hologram, showing the 8 quintessium deposits scattered across the galaxy. "Establish the deposits as neutral territories under joint council administration. Each civilization gets mining time based on their actual needs and processing capabilities, not on politics or military strength. Leeson's translator bubbled with confusion. But the logistics are handled by rotation schedules and quota systems. Look. Sarah's fingers danced over the display, showing a complex but elegant timetable. The crystalline hegemony needs large quantities but only twice per year for their ships. The Voidwalkers need constant small amounts. The Taurians need irregular burst for weapons manufacturing. The chamber fell silent as the representative studied the projection. It was actually logical. The aquatics get deep core access during their spawning seasons when they can't mine anyway, Sarah continued. The synthetics get processing rights during their maintenance cycles. Everyone gets what they need when they need it, without anyone hoarding resources they can't immediately use. Warlord Krexthor leaned forward, his tactical mind racing through the implications. But enforcement? Oversight? Joint inspection teams with rotating leadership? Neutral arbitrators for disputes? Maybe. The meditation masters from Epsilon Ceti, since they're already known for their impartiality. Standard diplomatic protocols. Zethkari felt his crystalline matrix humming with something he hadn't experienced in centuries. Hope. The administrative complexity is what computers are for, Sarah said with a shrug. We'll write the software. Open source, transparent algorithms, real-time monitoring. Each civilization can verify the others aren't cheating. She collapsed the hologram and looked around the chamber. Time-sharing isn't a new concept. We use it for everything from manufacturing facilities to computational resources. The only reason you didn't think of it is because you were too focused on ownership instead of access. The silence stretched for long moments. Finally, Vexilon spoke, her quantum voice uncertain. This could actually work. Of course it could work, Sarah replied. The question is whether you want it to work or whether you prefer arguing. Ambassador Zethkari looked around the chamber at his fellow representatives. 347 years of deadlock, ended by a species that hadn't even achieved faster-than-light travel when the debate began. I motion to suspend the traditional debate format, he announced, and move to immediate voting on the human proposal. The motion passed unanimously. Later, as the various ambassadors filed out of the chamber, already making calls to their respective governments about the breakthrough, Sarah Chen remained behind, updating her report. Curious, Unit Prime approached her, servos whirring softly. How did humans develop such efficient problem-solving methodologies? Sarah looked up from her data pad and smiled. We learned early that the biggest problems usually have simple solutions. We just had to stop making them complicated. The synthetics optical array flickered, the closest it could come to blinking in surprise. That seems almost too obvious. Yeah, Sarah agreed, gathering her things. Usually is. As she walked toward the exit, the human ambassador couldn't help but wonder what other impossible problems the galaxy might solve if they just stopped overthinking them. Behind her, the empty chamber seemed somehow brighter, as if 3.5 centuries of accumulated frustration had finally lifted. Tomorrow, 12 civilizations would begin sharing the galaxy's most precious resource. All because someone had finally asked the right question. Not who gets what, but how can everyone get what they need? Sometimes, Sarah reflected, being young and uncivilized had its advantages.